I didn't know, I had never been to Australia, so I didn't know what it was like. I certainly knew what the people slightly because there were lots of Australians in London. When I lived in London, when I went there in 1957, Canadians and the Australians are the most peripatetic people in the whole world. They're always traveling, aren't they? Everywhere you go, there's some bloody Canadian or Australian.
That's right.
So I met Australians in London, but still, that's not the same thing. So I will say, you asked me a question that certainly affects me, which is I was a bit trepidatious about making a film about a culture that I didn't know nothing about, because as a director, you should know everything about it. The people, their customs, their habits, details. Details are very important. But when I got there, I found that Australia was very, very similar to Canada. I'm a Canadian, you know. And there was this, first of all, geographically, there were the same vast open spaces that, far from being liberating, were pretty imprisoning there. And so that was the same thing in northern Canada. You know, I used to describe Canada as Australia on the rocks. And also the same kind of macho culture, because of the men outnumber the women. In Australia at that time, I remember at Broken Hill, where I shot the men outnumbered the women 3-1.
Wow.
3-1. And it was very, and I'll come back to that in a minute. But at the same time, as well as being kind of very macho, they were obviously very supportive of each other. They had to be in that world, you know, very supportive of each other, very hospitable, and they were very generous too. Okay, I went to I was looking for a pub in the middle of nowhere, which was a location we had to find. So we're driving 30, 40 miles outside of Broken Hill, driving around, and I see this hotel, as they call them there. I see this hotel there, and it had a 30-foot beer bottle on top of it. I said, look at that, all right, let's get over there. Perfect location for the one we're going to find. So, you know, it's a great thing, you know, back is you don't drive there on the road. You see something, you can get off the road and go bumpity, 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 bump, 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 bump across the back there, you know, and make your own road. And finally arrived there. It was a Sunday afternoon, Matthew. And there were about 40 cars. In each one of them, there was a woman with a blonde hair in a beehive hairdo. Because women were not allowed to go into the pubs.
Yeah.
As you know. And anyway, there was lots of raucous laughter coming inside. And I said, boy, this is great. We used the exterior. Now let's go and see the interior. Maybe we can use the interior as well. And the Australian location manager, a guy called John Shaw. Funny the names you remember, the names you forget. John Shaw. I haven't thought about him in years. But John Shaw was built like a brick shit house. He was an ex-rugger player. Big guy. So he says, I didn't tell you one thing about me. At the time, I looked like a 60s hippie.
Right.
I had a handlebar mustache, and I had hair down to my elbows, right?
Yeah.
So he says, Ted, listen, he says, they're not very keen on outsiders here at the best of times. But he says, someone looks like you. He says, they are really good. You know, so I'm not worried. I'm worried about it. Let's. Since it's Sunday, they're all having a day off. Tomorrow they'll be down the mines and back on the sheep ranches. Let's go. Come here tomorrow. So, what? They're going to hit charming Ted Kotcheff? That's ridiculous. Anyway, I said, we're 40 miles. We're going to drive in the heat and the dust 40 miles back and forth because we're afraid to go in now? No, I'm going in. He says, okay, Ted, it's your funeral. So I get out, I take 3 steps, and I think, Kotcheff, you sure you know what you're doing? John Shaw is built like a brick shit house, and he's scared to go in. You are going to go in? Anyway, but this time bravado took over. And I go into the pub, and I walk in, and 40 pairs of drunken eyes. It was a scene of a John Ford Western, right? The whole pub went dead quiet. As I walked in, they all kind of looked at me. And I walked over to the bar, and I said, I'll have a schooner of ale, please. So they all went back to talking. And there was a guy who was drunk about 5 feet away from me. So he leaned in and looked at my long hair. Shit. And he kind of leaned in again, you know, looked at my mustache. Shit. So finally he turns to me and he says, "Hello, Stalin." And I didn't say anything. I just raised my glass, smiled, drank. And then he said in a very loud voice that quieted the whole room down, "I said, hello, Stalin." And he put his jaw out right in front of my face, obviously accepting, who the fuck are you calling Stalin? Bam! He hit my face. Anyway, so there was I didn't say anything. Everyone was watching me now. And I said, "Look, I'd love to talk to you, but I'm dead." And he didn't get it for a beat. Then he said, "Oh," the whole room started to laugh. He said, "I love a bloke with a sense of humor. Bartender, give this man a schooner of ale." I sat all afternoon drinking with these guys. They love me, and I love them. And of course, John Shaw, no guts, no glory. You can sit in the goddamn car and heat all 110 heat all afternoon.
While you were in the pub drinking.
Enjoying myself. But the great thing, these 6 guys, I was about 4 pints behind all the time. I couldn't drink down fast enough. God, they drink so fast, so much and so fast. Anyway, those guys became my friends and my bodyguards.
Wow.
And what they would do, because I was we're getting back to what started this whole subject about not knowing the world out there. I obviously went everywhere I could to make encounters, meet the people, meet the situations, the pubs, the RSL clubs. Anyway, I went to a pub and the guy came up to me and he says, "Hey, you come out, let's fight." And I said, "Hey, mate, I got no argument with you, and I don't want to have one. So no, I don't want to fight." Yeah. He stuck his chin again, and he stuck his chin at me. And suddenly there's a voice, "Bert, leave Ted alone. He's my mate." "Oh, sorry, Al. Oh, Ted, let me buy you a schooner of ale. Bartender." No, I mean, Donald Pleasance, of course, was a well-known character actor. He had appeared in many films. He was a friend of mine, Donald, so I knew him. Gary Bond, I tried getting, there was Peter McHenry's brother, was it? What's his name? He's McHenry, anyway. Yes, Peter. Henry was his brother. Peter McHenry was a kind of a minor British film actor, star. Then he passed on it. Then I went to Michael York, who was a bit of a name. Remember him?
Not really.
Michael York. And he passed on it. And then I'd been to see the musical of the Argentinian musical of Evita. And Gary Bond was the star of this thing. And I thought, "Oh, this guy looks great." I went backstage and I liked him and I cast him. Michael York, very funny, he passed on it for years afterwards. Every time I bumped into him, he said, "Ted, for the rest of my life, I'm kicking my ass not to have done that film. It's so great."
Wow, that's a good compliment.
Yeah, but it's very hard, and they didn't seem to be worried about it. And I cast, of course, Chips Rafferty, who was an Australian film star, and to a certain extent British. You know, I remember during the 40s and 50s, during the 50s, there were a lot of Australian westerns that were shot with Chips Rafferty starring in them. J. Arthur Rank made them for English consumption, so he was a very well-known commodity, Chips, in England. And of course, he was a very well-known film star in
Australia. Yeah.
So it was his last film, as you know. And Jack
Thompson.
Jack Thompson, of course, it was his first film.
Yeah.
But Jack Thompson was pretty well known because it starred in a television series. But that's where I saw him on an Australian television series. So those were, but there was no pressure to. I mean, the film was going to be made for films made for very little money, like $800,000 or something. I mean, we couldn't afford a star even if we could have found one.
Yeah.
Michael York was as close as we came.